Hello and welcome to Daily Records. I am Tommy Burton and we are talking about the Beatles for the month of July. And since yesterday we talked about the White Album, now we're going to talk about the soundtrack to the animated film, The Yellow Submarine. Technically the 10th studio album by the Beatles, released on January 13th, 1969. And it was released on January 17th, 1969 in the UK, January 13th in the United States. I'm going to pull it out of the sleeve there so you can get a good look at it. Now, this was widely seen as a sort of contractual obligation. They needed to supply 4 new songs for this animated film that they were kind of indifferent about. But they did record a couple of them specifically for the movie. And then there were a couple of tracks that were included just because they were there and were appropriate. Most notably, the title track. We've already talked about that. It was on Revolver. So that was hanging around. All You Need Is Love, which is included on the Magical Mystery Tour. But that was a single. And so those were 2 tracks that were previously recorded and just there included on the soundtrack. Now, the other ones here, It's Only a Northern Song is a George Harrison track that was, I believe, recorded around the time of Sgt. Pepper and included here. All Together Now, which is a Lennon-McCartney original. It's sort of a Paul McCartney children's song, very simple. The Lennon rocker, Hey Bulldog, which may be, aside from the title track and All You Need Is Love, probably one of the more famous tracks from this soundtrack. And what I consider one of the more underrated George Harrison songs, most underrated Beatles song to me, It's All Too Much. I just love the way that song just comes and just assaults your ears with just this sonic just blast. I remember hearing that song for the first time. I bought the CD of this, already being a Beatles fan, but just never knowing that song because it never was on any compilations or anything. And when I heard it and I had these headphones on, I just was just in La La Land. I just thought it was incredible. One of the most incredible things I'd ever heard. Now, side 2 of the album is film music that was recorded and orchestrated and composed by George Martin. So it's really kind of half an album. I mean, if you're a fan of George Martin and sort of this classical or classically influenced music, soundtrack music, side 2 is a wonderful little piece. Nice melodic songs. And a lot of it's based on the music of the Beatles, but the Beatles had really nothing to do with that. With the little Yellow Submarine melody popping up throughout. That's kind of the only contribution. And so it's a symphonic film score. And like I said, for fans of George Martin, they're gonna recognize it, and they're gonna recognize a lot of the themes in it. But the cover artwork is just the drawing from the film. So if you've ever seen it, this looks very familiar with the characters there and the Beatles themselves. But, you know, as a sort of an EP, as it were, a one-sided album, it's fine. And I think all the songs are good. Like I said, Yellow Submarine and It's All You Need Is Love. Hey Bulldog is a fun rocker. But It's All Too Much is the highlight for me. Comment down below. What's the highlight for you? What do you think? Hit or miss? Let me know. But the Beatles' Yellow Submarine, today's daily record. Like, comment, subscribe, share, follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I love interacting with you guys. It's Tommy Burton75. Check out the other channel. In the meantime, I'll see you all again tomorrow with another Daily Record.